All right, welcome back to another episode of the Fan Connection podcast on the series where we review our favorite or the latest movies and TV shows. Spoiler alert right here, right now. I'm giving you a solid at least 20-second warning here saying if you have not seen Thor, Love and Thunder and intend to watch it and don't want any spoilers, turn off this podcast, turn it off right now, walk away, go to the movie theater, watch Thor, Love and Thunder, and then come back. Put your AirPods in, your earphones in, whatever you listen to your podcast on, and then tune into this podcast. All right, so now that all the people who haven't seen the movie are gone, now it's time to talk about Thor, Love and Thunder. The name of the movie, we finally realized at the end, like kind of the double meaning, because her name is literally Love, so she's Love, he's Thunder, kind of works. But anyway, let's get into the movie. What were your general thoughts on the movies, guys? Or on the movie, I should say.
Okay, who wants to go first, Ponch? You or me?
Go first.
Okay, well, as I have my jaw in this Marvel mug and wear my I Am Groot hat, pains me to say this, I did not like the movie. It was not, I like parts of it, right? I get it was a comedy, but I'm not gonna say it was bad as in I would never watch it again. It's just I was disappointed. So that's my quick short form thoughts on the movie. But yeah, what about you guys? Did you guys like it?
Yeah. I thought it was really like I enjoyed it. And I think like I enjoy like Taika's style. So for me I had a lot of fun, and I think if Taika was with somebody else, I think that's the Taika style works best when he's complimenting somebody else. Maybe if it's too much of his style, for some people it just gets a little overwhelming. They're just trying to be funny all the time, but
yeah, this was full Taika, like full, like it was Ragnarok, but like on steroids, right? Like
It wasn't like they didn't take themselves too seriously. I agree with that. I'm gonna be honest. I liked the movie. I enjoyed the story. I would watch it again. I'm not saying it's the best movie I've ever seen. It's definitely not close to Ragnarok, especially when Ragnarok first came out. I've seen it like 7 times now. So Thor Ragnarok to me isn't insane right now because I've seen it so many times. But it is a very good movie. Whereas this one, I could see the similarities, but it seemed like, for me, they didn't take themselves seriously enough. So like I like the humor from Thor. I do, because like obviously the second Thor movie, Thor: The Dark World, I don't think anybody wants to remember that movie. It was terrible. Like it was just too dark, too serious. Even the first Thor movie wasn't that great either. It was better than Thor: The Dark World, but Thor: The Dark World is a forgotten chapter that not many people want to remember. So this is definitely not on that level of bad, because they didn't like I said, there was some comedic relief. There were a lot of really good scenes that I think made the movie better. Like I said, overall, I thought it was pretty average, but there were some scenes within the movie that I enjoyed so much that it makes the movie seem better to me. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, that's fair.
For me, when I didn't like Jane, Jane. I didn't like Jane. In this movie, Jane Foster. I didn't like her. I found her annoying. I don't know why. I just, for some reason, I usually really like the actress there, but I don't know why I'm blanking on her name right now.
Natalie Portman.
Thank you. Yeah, I usually really like Natalie Portman as an actress, but for some reason this movie I just wasn't really feeling it. Honestly, her as Jane I've never really connected with. I never really liked her as Jane. I think she just never. It didn't seem like she ever really connected with the character either. So it's hard for me to connect with the character too, and it seems like the actress doesn't like it. So for me, like, Jane kind of brought the movie down. But Gore the God Butcher, I thought that was really cool. The scene where she came in as Mighty Thor was really cool, where she it was almost like a scatter shot, right, when she threw Mjolnir and it shattered and then reformed again. That was really cool. I thought that was pretty fantastic the way they did that. So like, those scenes really made the movie better for me. So that's why I don't see it as a bad movie. I just don't see it.
I think we can all agree there's a lot of enjoyable things in the movie. Like I like watching the movie. I was a little annoyed of like it just honestly for me in short, I felt like watching this movie was like an SNL skit. Like that's honestly what I saw this movie as. Like
Sure.
it just felt like that for me, right? But I completely disagree though. I think Jane was one of the better parts of the movie for me at least. I really enjoyed that. Whereas Thor, I was a little annoyed with. Like he was funny, but I really miss that Infinity War Endgame Thor, like that badass
Hmm.
Thor. Like I even then he had some comedic scenes in those movies. Like it was like subtle, like even when it comes back to Earth and he sees Chris Captain America and he's talking about his beard. Like he had a funny moment there and he was a badass still, right? And like in this
Yeah.
movie, it was cool. Like he was definitely cool, but it was just honestly like he was just on an SNL skit. Like even the
Hmm.
whole Harry Potter reference they made with like putting the what Stormbreaker, making it like a broomstick and he flew on that. Like, okay, I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh god, this is just how
Yeah.
this movie's gonna go. But
Hmm.
again, like it was like this is his full Taika. I'm not even saying that it's bad because this is like if you like his movies, I'm sure you're gonna like this. But I don't know if you guys have seen what you do in the shadows or what they do in the
Shadows, yeah.
shadows. I felt like it was very much like this. Like it was it was like full on Taika, just like that show or that movie, right? So but yeah, with Jane, like I don't know if we wanted to guys want to get into just talking about Jane though, but I actually really liked her story. I thought I connected with her even more this time than I did in the previous movies. In the previous movies, I felt like she was just kind of there, and in this one, she did have a lot of purpose. And one thing for
Mhm.
me is I knew she was gonna die, just because I know like that's her story in the comics. Like she becomes Thor, like Lady Thor or just Thor, and every time she's not Thor, the cancer spreads more or whatever, it's killing her, right? And I just knew she was gonna die, and it sucks. But like, I did really enjoy her story. I don't know. How about you, Ponch? Did you like Jane?
I thought they actually like took her somewhere. That's the
Hmm.
thing. She wasn't just like the romantic interest, and
Yeah.
like I had a lot of fun because in the first two in the first two movies you were just kind of like I haven't seen Thor: The Dark World because it's like the Phantom Menace.
Meaning what? How is it like the Phantom Menace?
I heard it's not very good.
Just because Natalie Portman's in it?
I think
She's
is
in
that two
both.
things? They
Yeah. It was
no
actually funny.
The
Taika's
Phantom
doing a Star
Menace.
Wars
The
series.
Phantom Menace was just really slow. That's the only problem with it.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but Taika was
Uh,
doing he's doing a Star Wars series coming up, and he apparently asked Natalie Portman to be in it. He's like, "Oh, do you want to be in the Star Wars movie?" She's like, "I was already in Star Wars," and he's like, "Oh, I forgot about that." And it's just like, it's like, okay, yeah, that's how forgettable the
yeah,
Phantom Menace is, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, but anyways, you gave her direction, and then you made her a strong character,
Hmm.
even if it was for that one movie.
Yeah.
Because first Thor is all about Thor. Second Thor is kind of developing the story, and then Thor Ragnarok, she was hastily written out because, from what I remember, there
Contract
was like
disputes.
it was either contract disputes or they she wasn't having like she was having like beef with
Yeah, I think
Disney.
she didn't want to be. I don't think she wanted to be like this, like exactly how you mentioned it before. Like she's just the love interest in the first two, right?
Mhm,
And like I don't think she wanted to do that because she's like she is a better actress than that, right?
Yeah.
Like
mhm,
for sure. Like she's been in so many great things, and yeah, I don't think she. I mean, that's why she probably came back for this, right? She had a much bigger
mhm.
role, and it's so cool what she ended up doing and becoming, right? So I'm sure she had the time of her life
Yeah,
doing that.
yeah.
So yeah.
And spoiler alert for later on in the movie, don't get attached to her. Um but
Yeah.
yeah. No,
I
I
mean,
think they did a great job, eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Like, I'm glad with I'm happy with where they took her. Like, I do like that she got to do something. Like, she got to be a hero. I liked her as Mighty Thor. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying I hate
Hmm.
Jane. Like, I hate Jane. I just don't
Hmm.
connect well with her character for some reason. I don't know what it is. I maybe I just remember too much of the early movies because it really felt like she wasn't in it. This movie, she
Yeah.
seemed more
Hmm.
she seemed more
She was
into it.
present.
But like at that point for me, the damage is already done. You know, she wasn't really in it in the past.
Hmm.
So maybe I'm also going through some shit right now through a breakup. So maybe I'm just out to get
Doesn't
her
want to.
because
Yeah, it doesn't want to
they
think
were
about any of that
also
stuff.
go on a break or whatever. So maybe I'm just out to get her. subconsciously, so that could be it too, guys. Maybe in a few weeks I come back and say, you know what, Jane was really good in that movie. I'm sorry. So, like I said, I like where they took her character though. I hope they leave her dead though, because I think she had a really good ending. Because if they bring her
I
back,
think so
because
too.
there are people
Mhm.
I saw on Screen Crush, I saw a few videos and a few theories saying that they might, now that they introduce us to Valhalla, we saw Heimdall, there is a potential for them to be brought back. So for me, it's okay, leave them dead, because if you bring them back, their sacrifices were for nothing. It makes her sacrifice at the end, where she
Seems a
went
little
to
empty.
save Thor and help him defeat Thor the God Butcher. Like
Yeah.
that would make that so much less impactful, if that makes
Well,
sense.
that's my if we're gonna talk about the end credits though, like just at least that one.
Sure.
My whole thing was right actually when I watched this, I just thought in my head, I'm like, and then I was telling myself, no, you're thinking too much. My initial thoughts were, I just saw her die 10 minutes ago. Why do I need to see this?
Mhm.
Right? That was my initial thoughts, and I was just like, it would have been much cooler if Thor could see all these people at once, like at some point, right? Like his mother, Loki, Heimdall, Jane, uh all these people, like anybody he's lost, or even Odin as well. Like it would have been pretty
Mhm.
cool if Thor just saw them all at once. But now that moment's like it's not gone, but like we've now already seen them in Valhalla, right? It would have been cool to
Yeah.
see, and it's like a pop. I went home after and I saw this. It was already a thing people were talking about. They're like, it would have been so
Mhm.
cool if in Thor's last movie, whenever he dies, he goes to Valhalla and he has a nice happy ending, and he sees his whole family, everybody he's ever lost, because his thing, like, he's been in 8 Marvel movies now, and in almost all of them, he's like lost somebody like constantly, and
Mhm.
like you have that scene in Infinity War where he's talking to Rocket, and he's like, "Oh, I've already lost so much. Lost my brother, my mom, dad,
Mhm.
whatever else. What else do I have to lose?" Right, when he's talking about taking on Thanos, right, and like so he's obviously dealing with a lot of loss. And if he just came
Mhm.
at the last end of his movie and he went to Valhalla and saw them, that would have been so much more impactful, right? But
Mhm.
Well, he's a father
on
now, so
well, yeah, exactly. But yeah, on the flip side of it though, it was a nice little touch on like her battle with cancer, right? So that was like the main reason Taika put that
Mhm.
in, where it's like she had her battle, she died in the battle like with cancer, and that's why she's there. So that's why that was there. But like it's a nice moment for her. But I mean, it would have been a cooler moment if it was done a different way. If you get what I'm trying to say.
yeah, I understand what you mean, but I think at
Mhm.
the end of the day, they kind of had no other choice, right? They
To
could have just
do
not put
what?
it in, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, that being the second end credit, like my buddy wanted to leave because he wanted to go see a girl, but he was mad that we made him stay for the second end credit because he said it was gonna be a waste of time. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, it's worth staying. Let's just see what the end credit is.
Mhm.
And he looks at me and he sees Jane.
Yeah.
He's like, she left.
Well, to be fair,
So
you can never leave in a Marvel end credits, like ever, even if it is
Mhm.
useless. But you just have to see if it is useless. You can't just not see it.
yeah, I'm
That's
like,
a
Mhm.
lot.
like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not the same watching it on YouTube after, right? It's you have to
yeah. No,
watch it
it's
in
not.
theater. It's not the
Yeah.
same.
It's
Okay, so let's
Let's get into the
not the
story though.
same.
let's
Yeah.
move on. Let's move on from our thoughts on the movie. Let's start going through the film breakdown. So the film starts. Thor's kind of off on his own. They show him lose his weight
Mhm.
and everything, but he's kind of off on his own, just kind of waiting for people who need help, for people to call him. But meanwhile, then we realize he's just on top of a mountain during a war that they need him for, but he's for some reason not helping. And then he goes down, he helps. There's this really weird fight scene, does the splits at one point. He's just having a good time. I actually enjoyed that first fight scene. It was pretty funny, and it showed how careless he was at that point because he's been through so much. Like he's going through all the stages of grief. At first it was sadness, like sadness and shock, right? In like Infinity War,
Mhm.
and then it was anger as well throughout Infinity War, and then in Endgame you kind of saw a bit of his depression phase, right? And now he's
Mhm.
starting to move into an acceptance phase, but he's still struggling. He's still struggling with figuring out who he is, right? He had so
Yeah.
much of himself taken away from that by Thanos and by all these other villains throughout his life, right? So he's trying to piece himself back together, and he's kind of forgetting certain things. His carelessness is coming out, all this other stuff. His childishness. There we go. Is also coming out too at the beginning. So then we see him kind of interacting with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm a little disappointed they left so early, but they take off. They leave him on his own with his buddy. So then him and his buddy. Well, what's his name? The Rock.
Korg?
Korg. Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say Korg. I almost said Meek. So him and Korg are going off on their own thing. They go back to Earth. I hope I'm not skipping too much. They go back to Earth. We see the new Asgard, the town there, Holmgren or something. So we see their town. It became kind of like a tourist trap, if you will. Like there's a bunch of gimmicky things there, but Valkyrie's
which is pretty realistic. I'm sure that would happen.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Right? Yeah.
And Valkyrie's doing a great job. She's making them tons of money. The people, the Asgardians, seem pretty happy. And it's not just Asgardians living there now. There's some other species there too. So that was kind of cool that we got to see. And then we also get to see Gore the God Butcher's storyline too. It was a little short for me. I would have liked to see it a bit longer. But basically,
let's talk about that for a little bit, just because I was gonna say, like,
yeah,
for a movie where this guy he's literally called the God Butcher. We saw him kill one person and one god in the very beginning of the movie, and that was a problem for me too throughout this movie. As the like, I know Marvel already does this quite a bit, but there were so many fake deaths. Like even Sif in the beginning, like I know like you don't want her to die like that, but like, why are you showing me that she's dying and then make a joke about it and then she's alive later in the movie? And then I know we're gonna get to Korg later and we're gonna get to Zeus later and all these other characters, but like looks like they're dead and then they're just back. Like it's just like what is going on? And Gore literally killed Christian Bale was really good when he was on screen, but it was so short. Like his screen time was so short. He might have been on screen for about 10 minutes, like an actual time.
Yeah, and Christian Bale did a phenomenal job playing Gore. Like I connected with his character in some ways. Like I felt really bad for him obviously at the beginning. He was dedicated to his god, and then his daughter dies. His whole village, his whole village is dead. They all died of starvation, and starvation. And then he finally finds the oasis where his god is. He finally finds the oasis because the sword led him there. The voice from the sword led him there. And there's some theories about that voice as well. So it led him there because it wanted him to kill the god. So he gets to the oasis. He sees his god celebrating with a bunch of little spirits and stuff, just devouring food. Meanwhile, his people are dying of famine. And you see the necro sword on the ground because the previous person that was the wielder of the sword was just killed by that god, right? And then all of a sudden, all of a sudden you see Gore. He's so happy. He finds his god. He's gonna get some eternal reward or something for being so devout to him, right? And the god just completely rejects him, starts trying to kill him for not being grateful or for not being for not being grateful for literally nothing. So so then the sword brings itself to him. It just starts floating towards his hand. He grips it and stabs the god through the throat and just kills him. That was a really cool scene. I thought it was going to set the tone for a very dark, a very gruesome movie where we see Christian Bale slaughtering gods left, right, and center in some pretty cool battles. Obviously, that didn't happen. We, as you said, Berto, we don't see Christian Bale killing any other god. We see the carcass of another god, like one of Thor's friends there, the giant beast. But we don't see him actually slaughtering other gods. So that would have been kind of cool to see too.
And like, just before we move on from that, like I think I think the other problem, or what you were talking about earlier, is Taika at his best is when he's more complimentary, and I think like this movie it would have been a little bit of a better movie if you did have Taika's comedy in it, but you made it a little bit more serious. Because if you had just scenes of Gore instead of Zeus saying or Thor saying like, "Oh, these gods are all dying. What the heck's happening?" If you saw Christian Bale, like you said, Mike, going off and killing these gods and having these little fight scenes, they didn't have to be too long or anything, but him being a little bit more brutal and being more menacing, that could have been so much better. But because this movie was like, I would honestly call it a straight up comedy, right? Like
it was a comedy.
Yeah, like
action
because
comedy.
it was a straight up comedy, like it was just like you can't have that because it'd be so tonally different and weird and like it'd be conflicting, right? So yeah, so that was like one thing I was a little disappointed about because I mean you bring in Christian Bale, he's such a great actor, and I mean, you saw it as Gore, like he was great, but I can't put him in like the top whatever for any list because we saw so little of him, and there was a one-off movie, right? So it's
Yeah.
hard to even rank
Yeah, because
him or
he's
anything
supposed to be
like
such
that.
a strong villain, right?
Exactly,
Mhm.
and like I
Yeah.
know in the comics, or I this is just something I've read, but I in the comics I know it takes like 3 different Thors to actually beat Gore the God Butcher. Like it takes like the past, present, and like
Yeah.
future Thor, something like that, something along the lines of that, right? And it takes all of that to finally kill this guy, and yeah, so done a little bit dirty. I'm curious to know why Christian Bale really took it or came back into the comic book world after 10, 11 years just to be in a
Mhm.
10 like be in the movie for 10 minutes or so. So
Money
I don't
has a
know.
funny way of getting people to do things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it probably
Well,
seemed
we don't.
enticing. It definitely seemed like an
Mm.
enticing role. He was the hero for
Mhm.
so long, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
that and we don't know. 10 minutes is edited screen time,
yes,
so we
exactly.
don't really know what the whole, because they probably have alternate scenes and they
Mhm.
cut it together a certain way. So they
Yeah.
probably like in even if it was a different director, they would have had it cut differently and they might have given him more screen time, but even then it's like
Yeah, like
if
from
you
go ahead.
if you remove Christian Bale's character entirely, what really what really happens?
So I
Well,
mean,
you don't have a movie, but
yeah.
You don't, but how
But
many things make sense without Christian? So the
well, like
Guardians first scene,
yeah.
yeah.
well, first scene's
So I
technically
liked,
Christian Bale, but yeah,
yeah, but then like you really could have done this whole movie without Christian Bale if you really think about it. That's kind of one of the things I'm
Like a
thinking
different
about.
villain, you mean? Like if we're talking about like a different, yeah, you could have done a different villain. I think
Hmm.
of like a similar motive where, I mean, the heart of the story is Thor trying to find himself, right, and find out like who he
Yeah.
really is. That's like the core of the story, right? And I'm sure,
Hmm.
and yeah, I'm sure you could have done that with maybe a different villain if that's what you're trying to say. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It was interesting choices, man. Honestly, like
Yeah.
I can see that point. Like it was cool to see him, but now this is a villain we're never gonna get again, right? This is just someone we're not gonna get
Hmm.
anymore, and I feel like it could have been a lot of potential with this guy.
yeah,
Even
Yeah.
if it was like a reoccurring villain for like the next, let's just say it was a trilogy, right? And it was Gore, and
Yeah.
you know you're going up against him for a couple movies, and then the
Yeah.
third one like is like the big clash or whatever of like something.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it could have been something like
Yeah.
that, but yeah,
honestly,
I
I,
don't
I
know.
think if you take out some of the scenes, like if you cut down on the time they spend on Earth, like if you cut down a little bit of that, like the tour and some of Jane's scenes, maybe not saying take them out, but like some of her scenes were a little long. You could take some of those
Hmm.
out, cut those down a little bit.
Mhm.
You cut down the boat scene a little bit as well,
Yeah.
right? Like where they're flying, and you maybe take away a little bit from the Island of the Gods. If you just
Hmm.
take a bit of that screen time away, if you take like maybe 5-10 minutes total away, and
Mhm.
put that 5 to 10 minutes into seeing one or two deaths from gods fighting Gore the God Butcher, I
Hmm.
think it would make for a much better movie, because
It
then
would, but yeah.
you would understand, or not understand, but you'd know how strong he is. Because yes, we see him kill one god at the beginning. It's implied that that god's pretty strong because he literally just killed the previous God Butcher in a way, the previous
Hmm.
wielder of the Necro sword. Um, but like we don't really see Gore fight. Like we get to see him on Earth fighting the Asgardians. We see him take the kids away to bait Thor, but like
Hmm.
they spend so much time talking to the kids that it kind of just takes away from Gore. Like he did a phenomenal
Yeah.
job when we saw him talking to the kids and creeping them out and stuff. That was really well done. Like he nailed it. Like he was
Hmm.
scary. He was creepy. And I think if you were a kid on that boat, honestly, just watching it, you were creeped out. You're like, oh, is he about to kill a kid here? Like, what is going on?
Mhm.
So like that was good. Um,
Hmm.
so I just wish
But
they'd put a
yeah.
bit more time into to seeing his not only his origin, but seeing his butchering, seeing
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
slaughtering gods. That'd have been much cooler. Although, okay, so let's move on. I know we're doing a film breakdown here, but let's just move on to let's just jump a little bit here to the scene of them on the God Island, like the Oasis or what, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. I forget what it's called as well.
But you know what I
it's
mean,
where
the
all
hidden
gods are.
island of the
Yeah.
gods where they all just kind of chill and supposedly have
Yeah.
orgies.
Yeah.
So,
Apparently have orgies.
yeah. I actually really liked what they did with that. And the reason I like, because my buddy was mad that Zeus wasn't this super powerful god and all this stuff. He's still super powerful. He got a lightning bolt through the chest and still alive. That shows he's still a strong god. I just like that. I like that he was corrupted.
I
what I
like
mean?
it too. Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
it is like it's a symbolism. It's a metaphor for wealth today. Like the rich keep getting richer, and they don't care. They just want the poor to stay poor. They don't care about the rest. Like obviously there's it's not the overall rule for everybody. There's exceptions to that, you know, and Thor is an example of that exception of someone doing humanitarian work and all that stuff, right? So they see themselves as gods. They're above everyone else. Their blood is out of gold. All this stuff. So that just shows that they all corrupted. They just expect everyone to worship them and not ask for anything. They don't want people to pray to them for stuff. They don't want to help people. And so that's kind of cool. It shows that Zeus has been corrupted. He went from helping humans advance their civilization and being worshipped by humans to not liking them at all. He hates superheroes because they're taking his space. He wants everyone to worship him again. He wants his power back. And he's gotten fat on power too. Like I thought that was phenomenal.
No, I thought that was all well done. Like I was like, so I was fine with that scene completely. I was like, yeah, that was not something I had a problem with. The thing I had a problem with was just the fake death thing. But like, because when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, did he just kill Zeus? Like, what the hell? Like, but like, yeah, I mean, it was a good scene though. I actually did like that scene. I like the metaphor that you pointed out. I think that was done well. I didn't have a problem with any of that, to be honest. Like, it was good. It was a couple of good little fight scenes there as well. After
The fight scene there was really good, actually. I enjoyed that fight scene. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, that was a good one. And yeah, then they fake killed Korg. I was like, okay.
I was shocked. I didn't mind that Korg didn't die because that is
Yeah.
a Korg character thing though. Like that would be him not to die there. You know what I mean?
I
He would be
guess,
just
yeah.
a face. You know?
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of funny.
yeah.
I love all the like pop culture references too. Taika's like like the screaming goats is because of the Taylor Swift video.
Yeah, I didn't like the goats to be honest with you.
The
At
goats
first.
annoyed the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Man. But like,
They were
I
funny at one
annoyed
point,
too,
but
like it was annoying. Like, the amount of times we heard these guys scream.
I mean,
But
mhm.
it was funny at first though. I was just like,
Mhm.
but yeah, that was funny. I like the little dumpling god.
Yep.
That was a good
My buddy
one.
hated
Yeah.
that. He looked at me and was
Yeah.
like, "What the hell is this?" I'm like, I thought it was fine. I didn't mind.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be
Um,
for one of their. It was supposed to be based on one of their Disney Pixar animation movies.
Okay.
Spider-Man from Naruto says Thor more like snore. Ouch.
Yikes.
Okay, so let's move on from that scene. What did
Mhm.
you guys think? Let's just skip to the final battle here. What did you guys think of the final battle? And what did you think of them actually before that? What did you think of them stabbing Valkyrie with the necro sword, but her not dying?
Oh my god, that was another fake death I completely forgot about. Yeah. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the fake death again. It was just like she was totally fine. There was nothing. It just got her out of the final battle. Like that was the only reason why.
Mhm.
And just so
I
Jane
needed to
come
cut down
in.
her screen time.
Yeah, right. And that, you know what though, I actually didn't appreciate that because I really did like Valkyrie and Ragnarok, and I liked her relationship with Jane. I think that one scene where they're just outside of her door and Jane was she broke the sink with the hammer or
Yeah.
Mjolnir,
Mhm.
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir?
I sound like Darcy right now when
Yeah.
she's like.
Mew Mew?
Anyway, yeah, no. Anyway, I really like that scene, that little sisterhood thing they had of just
Yeah.
like just them two like understanding each other and supporting each other, right? And we didn't really get the rest of that. Like that was it. She was just kind of gone, and I mean that means that there is more time for Thor and Jane to rekindle their love, which is probably actually my favorite part of the movie, as just like their relationship and showing how it progressed, showing why they broke up, why it wasn't necessarily like to blame 100% on somebody. It's just that's just what happens. Like, there's just two sides of it, and I liked how they showed that. I liked how they showed them coming back together, and
That was
was like
hard
a
for me,
really
but I
strong.
also enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean that was a really strong part of the movie for me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're just talking about the Valkyrie thing, but like just before the Valkyrie thing happened, like it was showing how Thor and her kind of got back together on that ship, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that happened, and then yeah, I mean just going back to Valkyrie, I just didn't like how she got stabbed, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was just a cheap way to get her out of the final battle, right? It was just like, of course, like I thought she was like, I was like, yeah, I mean it makes sense if she died because like it is Gore the God Butcher. If he killed somebody, I mean there's a repercussion, but no, I guess
Is
not.
he?
How about you, Punch? What did you think
Sorry,
about
guys, I'll be
that
on there.
scene?
Um.
The fight was
You,
sick. I actually did like the fight. That
No,
that fight
the
was pretty
fight
cool.
scenes are always really well done, especially in Thor
I
movies. I
always
find they're always
loved.
really well done.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's why I can't say the movie's bad because I enjoyed all the fight scenes and there's a lot of them.
Although the fight scene on, I think it was New Asgard for the kids, that was, I don't know for you guys, but my theater was so freaking dark. Like I could not see what was going. Like you could see it, but like it was
When he stole
so
the kids or when the kids
dark.
were fighting?
Yeah.
When well, kind of both to be honest. There
When
was
the
just
kids were
like
fighting, it was sick. Like the way the lightning was spewing for us, that was really cool. It
no, it
looked
was
really
like
good for me.
the shadows or whatever. Oh, actually no, it was just, I know what you're talking about. My bad. No, the first time, the first like shadows or whatever, the monsters come by.
Oh yeah, I saw
So
everything.
freaking dark for me. I don't know why. And like, um, the other thing too is like I don't know if you guys noticed, but the CGI was so wonky. Like, in so many scenes. Like there was some cool shots, like really cool, like A tier. You can definitely tell this is like $1 million budget movie, or sorry, $100 million
Yeah.
budget movie or whatever. And then there's some other shots where I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
Oh
Like
yeah.
that one scene of Heimdall's kid, or like with that little vision. I don't.
Mhm.
It looks so bad, like just his head. I was like, what the hell is going on? So that was definitely a down part for me. I didn't like that. Um, but yeah, I don't know even know how I got on this tangent, so my bad. Anyway, Punch, what did you think about the whole fight scene and Valkyrie dying and then coming back?
Um. I had a lot of fun. It's really cool that they got the kids involved. As Taika Waititi said,
Mm.
kids are really good for cheap labor.
Yeah, that was a very Taika move for sure. Like I'll say that. I actually
Yeah.
didn't enjoy that, but I mean it was cool to see, but I think that
Mhm.
Thor should not. I think Thor could have just taken him on. Like he could just take him on, man. Like, you can just have the fight
Mhm.
like that of him trying to save the kids and like I don't know. It
I
was a
just
Taika move. It
yeah.
was a Taika move, right?
I just
I had
thought
a
it
lot
was
of fun with
it's
that.
not something I expected, but I liked it because it showed the growth of Thor. Like he wasn't just
Mhm.
doing everything himself. He was delegating, he was inspiring, he was being responsible, he was giving his power. He wouldn't like Thor would never have done that in the past. He was willing to
Mhm.
give up some of his power. I thought that was pretty
Mhm.
cool.
But then that also sets a precedence that Thor can give people the power of Mjolnir,
He
which is
can.
kind of cool.
He technically gave it to Jane. Remember the
Yeah,
cutscene
he
where he was
said
like,
always protect her.
yeah, he was
I think.
drunk,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
he accidentally made he can do magic. His mom's a witch. Like he can.
Yeah.
He's just too dumb to know how to do it. He only does it accidentally or out of a last resort / trying to save a bunch of kids.
Mhm.
So when his emotion's there, he
Also,
can do it. He
yeah.
just doesn't know how.
Yeah. Well, I mean
Yeah.
that leads us to nearly the end of the movie then.
Yep.
So yeah, Jane obviously dies. Gore did get his wish. He got his
I
daughter
liked that
back.
redemption though. I liked that.
I liked it too. I think it
Mhm.
was nice. Fun fact, that's actually Chris Hemsworth's real life daughter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
So
too.
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
So I did like the endings actually. I liked how where it left Thor off. I like
Mhm.
that Gore got kind of redeemed, I guess, and brought his daughter back. I like the way Jane ended her story. Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to talk about the post credits, um,
Mhm.
Yeah. Hercules.
Just
mhm.
wait, just a quick thing on that. Did anybody else think that the Gore was just going to bring back Jane? I was
Oh,
thinking that.
I
I
low-key
was like,
thought that too.
yeah, I was like, maybe he does, but like, nah, I
I
mean,
was
it
like,
wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Save
But
her
yeah,
cancer or bring back my daughter.
well, I was like, maybe they're
I
gonna
get
bring
it.
her back, but then I was like, nah, Natalie Portman's too expensive. That's why they killed
Chris
off
Hemsworth's daughter is a
RDJ2.
lot cheaper.
Yeah.
That sounds
But
creepy, by the way. That sounds really creepy out of context.
wait, what did you say?
It's like Chris Hemsworth's
Don't-
daughter is a lot cheaper. Like for labor, like for acting. I didn't
My
mean it like
goodness.
that. I didn't mean it like
Okay,
that.
we're
I
moving
didn't
on
mean it
to
like
the end credit
that.
scene.
I
So
Yeah.
Roy
acting.
freaking Kent, all right. When he showed up, when Roy Kent Mike doesn't even. Wait, you do watch it. Never mind. When he showed up, I was saying in my head, like the chant were like Roy Kent, he's here, he's there, he's every
Yeah,
fucking where.
yeah.
I was literally like saying that in my head when I saw him. I was like, no freaking way, this guy is. Dude, I think it's sick casting though. I feel like it's actually
Thank you,
really good
J-God.
casting.
Yeah.
He is I don't know how good he is outside of Ted Lasso, to be honest, but like I just saw when I heard his voice and I saw him like dressed up as Hercules, I was like, yes. I didn't know I wanted this, but this is a good pick.
So
So
it's
yeah.
funny. My buddy looked at me. He says, he gives me more Craven the Hunter vibes, like more of like a hunter because of his voice and his accent. But I was like, no, he could fit Hercules. I think that could work.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was cool. And like now we're gonna have a Hercules versus Thor, and the
That'll be
next one.
sick.
That's gonna be a pretty cool battle.
I think.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, finish your thought. Sorry.
I was gonna say I feel like it's gonna be Hercules versus Thor, but then they're gonna realize they're like
They're friends.
yeah, they're probably gonna end up being
And
friends.
they're gonna fight someone else.
I think they're
at
gonna
the
have
end.
to. I don't
They're
know
gonna
what's
have
gonna
a
happen, but
taskmaster type thing.
I
It's
saw
just gonna-
Screen
it's-
Crush. They're
yeah.
saying that because the Necrosword is broken, and like we saw Eternity, the counterpart to Eternity, or we can't really technically see one of them because it's owned by Sony, but there's like this soup
Null?
we can't see him because he's owned by
Yeah.
Sony, but there's like a Eternal Darkness or something, like I don't know what it's called. I don't remember the name, like King of Chaos or something, King Chaos. I don't know. There's like some super big villain that basically like was darkness before there was light. So people think that Zeus is gonna try to turn everybody against Thor by bringing back this thing and killing it himself. That's what they're saying on Screen Crush, right? And in the theories, like he'll bring it back so that he can show he's super powerful and be revered, but then he'll actually die.
Yeah.
Like they think he's gonna die to it, and then he not accidentally, but he releases the worst evil or one of the worst evils, and Thor and Hercules have to try to kill it. That's what I heard.
Okay. Yeah.
And then love is gonna be the secret of how to kill it. That's
maybe.
what I saw.
I like it.
Yeah, my thoughts on it was just like, I know we're gonna talk about the future of Thor, and I know that they set Hercules to be as the villain, but Hercules, I mean, it's like Thor's best friend in the comics, I'm pretty sure. So like, and even in the movie they mentioned like he said like, oh, Hercules is there too, we can get him. Like I don't know if you guys caught that, but he said it in the movie, and so I think it's just known that like they're friends from before or something, but now like Hercules is supposed to kill Thor, and it's just you already know what's gonna happen. It's the classic. They're gonna fight. The two guys are gonna fight until like the bigger threat comes out, and then they're gonna team up, and then they're gonna fight the bigger threat, right? So it could be that. I can totally see it being that, but
or something else.
yeah, something else. I'm not sure exactly where they're gonna go with it, but yeah, I'm happy with the casting, and I think it'll be cool to see them fight because it it kind of will be like Hulk and Thor when they fought in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Because it's not like anything it's not like magic stuff. Like with Gore, like his fight scene's really cool, but he was doing a lot of disappearing and showing up in places and stuff like that, and there was some other big shadow monsters in the fight as well, right?
Yeah.
But this seems like a more of a one-on-one type thing. Like you're not gonna really get any of that other stuff, which I actually like a little bit better, just because it seems a little bit more real and it seems like there's more stakes involved when you can just it seems like it's like us two fighting, for example, right? Like we don't have any like magic shit we can just throw randomly, right? So yeah, I think those fights will be pretty cool.
So let's just move on here to the first post. Oh no, that was the first post credit. So we're done with that.
Yeah.
So future for Thor, we kind of already covered it. So do you guys want to just kind of go into our ratings for the movie and call it a day?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I'll go first. So
let's give our well, just so the audience knows.
Yeah, we'll define our ratings.
Yeah, let's do you want to run it down like we do 1 to 5 or 1 to 6?
Yeah, we're doing 1 to 6. Well, 6 is more like it's super rare, but so 1 is a bust, 2 is a bench warmer. So 1 is a bust, it was bad, it wasn't good. 2 is a bench warmer, it was okay, not great. It's like a movie you could keep on your shelf or on the bench, and if you're out of movies, out of things to do, then you can watch that. We said Joe NHL. It's the generic created player by EA Sports. So Joe NHL is just like it was a good movie. It was okay. It was average. Like it was a movie. I enjoyed it, and that's it. Then you have All Star, which is it was a good movie. Champion, it was a great movie, and GOAT, it was one of my favorite all-time movies. Does that make sense?
Nice. I like the system.
So for me, I don't want to say All Star because it wasn't spectacular. It was better than most of the new Marvel movies. Let's be honest. I liked it better than Doctor Strange. I liked it better than fudge. What's the other one I didn't like? I liked it better.
Like Eternals.
I liked it better than Eternals. I liked it better than their shows they've been coming out with lately. I liked it better than the shows. So I don't want to say All Star, but I don't want to say Joe NHL. I'd say it's like an Andre Palat. It's like he's just below an All Star. He's like right there. You know what I mean? It's like it's a decently good movie.
Like a 3.5 is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like a 3.5 for me.
No, commit. Which one? All Star or Joe NHL?
Fuck it, All Star. Closer to All Star than Joe NHL.
Okay, Punch.
I think it's an all-star, but I think it's like the Milan Lucic of like films.
2010?
Either you really I think you're either really gonna love it or you're gonna hate it.
Yeah, that's fair. For me, I am going to say Benchwarmer. I'm really down on this
Not
movie.
even Joe NHL.
Nah, I was not. I mean, it was fine, but it definitely like by definition, like it's like something if there's nothing else to watch, maybe a type of movie I'd watch. You know, like I don't know. I had a pretty high expectations for the movie, but I went in with pretty fair. Like usually I go into the movie and I'll be like, okay, whatever it is what it is. I'm not gonna be super hyped about it or super down about it, and then I'll just watch it. And that's just kind of like the thought I got. Like I was like, okay, I wanted to be better, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
It's like
All right.
Well, that's gonna do it for the
levy of. Oh, it's
Okay,
like the levy of movies.
All right, now it's time. As soon as starting
now it's time to
levy,
go.
we gotta call it here. That's gonna do it for the third episode of us reviewing our favorite shows and movies, or the newest shows and movies. We did episode 7 of The Boys. We have to do episode 8, the finale or season finale, sometime this week, probably tomorrow, but we'll keep you guys posted. We also did a review of Stranger Things season 4. The last 2 episodes / all of the season, we just kind of reviewed it, recapped it, said what we thought about it, and now we've done Thor. So if you have any recommendations, any movies you want us to watch, any TV shows you want us to watch and give an opinion on, let us know in the comments. Let us know on Instagram. Let us know wherever you follow us. Let us know. We'd be happy to take suggestions and watch your favorite movies and shows and give our opinions. So we'll see you all in the next one. We appreciate the support. You can find us on Instagram. Spotify, I almost said Snapchat, but no, not Snapchat. Instagram. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube, all as The Fan Connection. You can also find us each on Twitch. Myself, SomeLazyGuy09. Berta is Bertaman, BerDaman, and then Ponch_YYC. So we'll see you guys all in the next one. We appreciate you as always. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you again soon.
See you guys.